My dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. M.P. Satija, retired recently from the Department of Library and Information Science, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. The topic for discussion here is the relation between classification and indexing. This relation has become more important in the days of computerized information retrieval. As you know, classification has always been viewed as some systematic and logical arrangement of entities in some order, but mostly as shelf arrangement of books and other reading materials in libraries. Indexing was considered a separate field within the librarianship. Indexing presented the view or feel of mere alphabetization, which in fact is antithesis of classification according to Ranganathan. Some viewed classification for arrangement and indexing was considered only a key to it or a tool for information retrieval in databases. With the invention of chain indexing in the year 1939, Dr. S. Ranganathan, a sort of symbiosis between classification and indexing was discovered and shown clearly. With the coming of thesaurus, which was a tool of indexing, it was shown by late Professor Brian C. Vickery and other library scientists that a thesaurus implies or underlines classification methods when it displays hierarchical, equivalent, and associative relations in the form of BT, RT, and use. Now, classification in itself is considered a tool for information retrieval, and all indexing tools such as thesaurus, subject hand lists, ontologies are used classification method for better performance in information retrieval systems. Classification and indexes have to work together for better recall and relevance ratio in the output of a query. The thesaurus facet, which is an invention of the late 20th century, it visibly combines both indexing and classification. Ontologies are in fact deep and multidimensional classifications. Some scientists even visualize classification as a subset of indexing. That is, classification is also a sort of indexing. And on the other way around, indeed, indexes always use classificatory methods. So the relation between the two is quite close and even intrinsic. Classification has always been viewed as an act of grouping, whereas library classification is a tool for shelf arrangement of documents, that is a general view. On the other hand, indexing has always been popularly, though not correctly, associated as alphabetical arrangement of terms, concepts, and names. So then these are two contrasts between classification and indexing as it looks on the surface. Indeed, index is mostly alphabetical, though other indexes such as numerical index, formula index, chronological index are also made and are available. If classification is a tool for organization in a systematic way, then indexing is an aid in retrieval of information. B.C. Vickery seminally defines an index as known names in known order. So this order could be any, not merely alphabetical. Classification too has an order which is systematic. Both seem synonymous or two sides of the same coin when we look at them deeply or seminally. Therefore, both are best known by a common name, vocabulary control, for knowledge organization. Effective indexing will always involve controlled vocabulary. Natural language indexing has its problems. Certainly, the natural language approach to indexing can produce relevant and apt results, that is, a good match between the user's perception of their subject and the manner in which it has been dealt by the author. The average likelihood that any two people will use the same term for a concept of a book, or that a search information system will use the same term for a concept, is in the range of 10 to 20, says Marcia Bates. So there is not similarities between the terms used by the author and the library users. Also, the natural language approach takes no account of the synonyms, the homographs, and the semantic relationship between concepts, and does not ensure high recall precision. Therefore, natural language is not useful for information retrieval, rather it can bring many problems. Therefore, a sort of control is needed on natural language when used knowledge organization and for knowledge representation. According to a great authority on information retrieval, late Professor B.C. Vickery, classification involves one or both of the two acts as follow: grouping and division, that is putting together entities that are alike in the same way and keeping apart those that are unlike, and also arranging the entities of a group in a meaningful sequence, that is, arranging the group in some logical way, that is, each entity in the group has to be further arranged or ranked. So this is the act of classification, broadly speaking, as told by Professor Vickery. Modes of using classification in indexing methods. There are two lists of the same terms on the left and the right. In the left list of index terms, no classification has been introduced. The broader classification is that all these terms belong to binding. But on the right, the terms have been grouped and subgrouped in smaller extent, making many groups within the group. And of course, these are arranged further alphabetically, and this sort of arrangement is called alphabetico index. So all the terms, we have divided them into these 5 groups of binding, blocking, boards, edges, and paper. And within that, again, the subgroups have been made alphabetical. So of course, when we are making grouping and subgrouping, it is an act of classification, but that is used for indexing. So it shows that indexing involves classification, howsoever primitive it may be. The value of classification in indexing. Classificative techniques are visible in inversion rules, categorical analysis, relational analysis, facet hierarchy. Has it any value in information retrieval? The question is, would we not be better served by the mere alphabetical order of terms? Asks B.C. Vickery. The advocates and users of classificatory principles in alphabetical sequence would make answers on 2 counts. First, as soon as the name of a topic is something more complex than a single word, problems of sequence arises which the alphabetical order cannot solve, as there is no longer a universally known order. Second, there are few subjects in which terminology is so settled and so widely accepted that each topic has a single known name. But in most of the cases, there are synonyms even in scientific terminology. The first problem of compound and multi-worded names immediately necessitates some principles of ordering so as to achieve a consistency in indexing that will facilitate search. Here see the hierarchy. An entry such as roses, diseases, insects, control, DDT. It is a order. The order of these terms is according to say wall picture principles. A sequence of ordered entries, however, produces an alphabetical class grouping in which a searcher may more readily browse to pinpoint a topic to follow up. Hence, the value of indexing and classification cannot be denied. Full text searching. Today, many online information systems contain elaborated abstracts or the full text of articles, documents, books, or full abstracts. It's now possible to search a complete text, even a large work such as the entire encyclopedia, for a single word or term. It is full text searching made possible by the powerful computer. Because of this, some writers argue that a knowledge of classification is no longer necessary for the information worker because keyword searching does serve the purpose. Many computer scientists believe that the best way to search for information on the web is by using keyword searching. But keyword searching often fails miserably, tell the librarians. Keyword searching is a very facile solution which results in lot of irrelevant output, or we call it noise. Full text searching continues. It may be emphasized or made clear that even the Boolean searching involves elements of classification. When we group or exclude something, so that is an act of classification which underlies the Boolean searches. Though the use of Boolean operations in online searching is popular, yet it is primitive or basic. Boolean search formulation syntax and retrieval techniques are not very effective in terms of recall and relevance ratio, and not very usable or efficient search methods for the end users. Serious searchers need a flexible, rich, contextual subject search and browsing mode which offers plenty options for navigation. For this, we have to formulate query in a systematic way, and that also involves classification. Classification provides the context in keyword searching for better precision. Truncation method. The computer has given us a wonderful, flexible capability that offers search possibilities that were impossible previously, and we must make full use of these facilities. The development of computer search of word indexes has led inter alia to new form of grouping together of a set of words, all of which include the same sequence of letters. Its technique is known as truncation. That is, to leave aside some words and keeping some root words together. It is a device that allows searching on words stems. For example, a search for compute, C-O-M-P-U-T, would find computer, computers, computing, computerization, and also computerization in other spellings. A search for cell, wherever this asterisk means irrespective of what letter appears in the word at the point. Collects together entries containing such words as cell, cells, cellular, cell phone, and celluloid. Truncating class numbers. Truncation can be applied on words as well as numerals if they are hierarchical in nature. Truncation device can also be used on classification numbers as a means for broadening or narrowing a search. When we truncate a class number, we will get broader number. Or we can move down or up a hierarchy in a class number. In the example of churches, the DDC number for this topic is 726.5. Truncation would allow this search to be widened progressively, searching for 726.5 will search for architecture of churches, building, that is building associated with Christianity. Then 726 will search for religious architecture or religious building and their architecture. 72 will broaden the search to architecture only on all sort of buildings, and 7 of course the arts, which includes many topics. Thus, if a classification scheme is hierarchical and the notation is expressive, the search can obviously be broadened, narrowed, or widened in a manner explained above. For word truncation. List of subject headings. Library of Congress subject headings LCSH consist of an alphabetical listing of subject headings, cross-references, and subdivisions. The total of 280,000 in the 30th edition published in 2007. The list is also available online via classification web. Also available online is the Library of Congress Authorities, which enables one to search, browse, and view authorities for subject and other headings from the Library of Congress online catalogue. In the year 1995, the British Library in UK resorted to Library of Congress subject headings for its B&B records as a means of controlled language subject access or for subject headings. List of subject headings. The printed subject index to the B&B also uses Library of Congress headings, and B&B software arranges entries producing a lead term followed by the string in which it occurs. Example is given. For example, minorities and then their subheadings: minorities, civil rights. You can find minorities education, minorities legal status, minorities in United States, and their political activities. All those headings will come together. Classified catalogues. The use of classification in classified catalog is the core of the method and procedures to search catalogs. Being in two parts, the traditional manual classified catalog offers the ability to look in an alphabetical subject index for the classification numbers for a particular subject and then go to that number in the classified sequence to find relevant items. This is an efficient way to find all the items dealing with a specific subject and also facilitates browsing for related coordinate, subordinate, and superordinate subjects. OPACs, that is online public access catalogs, are now the norms in every libraries, giving the user single window online access to holding of the library. Classified catalogs. New libraries have discovered that the original classified catalog arrangement offers a useful methodology for the online catalog. Under the onslaught of dictionary catalog, the keyword searches classified catalog approach has been almost forgotten by contemporary librarians. This is not useful for searches. Searches by author, title, and keywords are now commonplace, with more advanced searches by subject or class numbers or other access points possible in many cases. However, the ability to browse up and down a classified list of items is rarely offered, although recent developments indicate that this is changing as the libraries seek to enhance the capabilities of their online catalogs. A library catalog must allow such browsing, that is, moving up and down the hierarchy, says Eric Hunter. Using a class number as search reference in OPACs or in databases. In current online systems, subject searching is usually done via alphabetical keywords or standardized subject terms. However, it is now becoming more widely accepted that a greater use of classification in searching could lead to an improvement in search techniques and in system efficiency, that is, to relieve more relevant terms and decrease the noise. The value of classificatory techniques in alphabetically based retrieval system is established both by logic and their use in practice. The alphabet is indeed a basic precision tool, but it suffers from many problems unless augmented by classificatory support. Using the Dewey Decimal Classification as an example, a record for bibliographic item might contain the following fields. So here is the entry. First gives the class number, then the subject as in the Dewey schedules, then how it can be navigated, Dewey index in the relative index is given, then author and the title are given. So the entry can be searched from various fields, but the class number will bring all them together. Use of authority, list, and thesauri for searching. In searching or indexing, when terms are taken directly from the text of a document, a thesaurus or an alphabetical subject heading list, such as the Library of Congress list, many still assist in the search process. Alphabetical lists of subject headings or thesauri showing related terms are useful in this respect, and therefore these tools may be used not only for indexing but also for searching. An entry such as the following from the thesaurus of RCN Library Thesaurus of Nursing Terms designed by the Royal College of Nursing UK is here. The term is fertilization, then it's used for, or synonymous term is human fertilization. Its upper term is, or broader term is reproduction. Its narrower term, subordinate term is assisted conception, and a related term, of course, is fertility. So it indicates that fertilization is a term used as an indexing term, and also that the search may be broadened via reproduction, or it can be narrowed via assisted conception, or it can be widened horizontally via the fertility. So you can see that in this index or in this thesaurus, there is a lot of classification involved. Thesauri construction. Thesauri is plural of thesaurus. Automation has resulted in an ever-increasing need for authoritative and standardized vocabularies, that is, controlled vocabularies. Thesauri are an attempt to provide guidance on the terms which should be used both in indexing an item and its retrieval from an information store. So it is both used for the indexer and the searcher. The use of classification is essential for efficient subject access. They control the natural language of the inquirer and attempt to overcome the complexities of semantic expression and the existence of synonyms, homonyms, differences in spelling, word forms, and also on by conveying to the searcher the terms used by the indexer to describe that concept. So that is the role and objective of a thesaurus. Thesauri construction has much in common with classification, as their purpose is somewhat similar. Constructing a thesaurus. A thesaurus, like a classification scheme, imposes order on a subject and displays the structure and multidimensional relationship within that subject. It normally shows the scope of each term and the context in which it is to be applied. It will also direct users to the preferred terms and provide references from those which are not used in the database. Pre-coordination is evident in these phrases and inversions, as it is in the choice of entry form in any multiple term combination. The thesaurus also provides a list of auxiliary common subdivisions such as manufacturer or textbooks, research, which can be used to subdivide any heading in a manner similar to the use of common isolates or auxiliaries in classification schemes. Here too the concept of pre-coordination is being applied in those concepts which are deemed secondary in search for information. So you can see that there are many similarities between the construction of a thesaurus and a classification system. Thesauro facet. The term is a combination of thesaurus and faceted classification. Trend has emerged of combining classification and thesaurus, and these developments are probably best exemplified in the thesauro facet, which grew out of the English Electric Company's faceted classification for engineering. Associated chiefly with Jean Atkinson, the work is a faceted classification with a fully structured thesaurus as an index. Such thesauri also provide class numbers for use in subject retrieval and therefore fully combine both approaches. Subject headings for engineering SHE produced by the publisher of the Engineering Index and Compendex. Its electronic equivalent provides a list of headings with scope notes and their class numbers. It offers a tool which can be used in pre-coordinate and post-coordinate indexing. The searcher can find from the thesaurus the class number for their subject and then proceed to the classified sequence where the hierarchy of the subject will be fully revealed. Alternatively, the search may approach the index for a specific subject and will there be assisted by the pattern of broader, narrower, and related headings to which they are guided. Such systems attempt to provide both for self-arrangement, for subject retrieval, and the principles of classification are in many ways in such schemes applied to indexing method and vice versa. This is a healthy process and Cesaro facet is in fashion nowadays. Ontologies, which are the current topics for knowledge organization, goes further than the controlled vocabularies or thesaurus. An ontology is defined as a collection of concepts arranged in a hierarchy of categories, combined with the relationships between those concepts in order to reflect the vocabulary of an area of knowledge. Ontologies provide a powerful framework in which to make connections between ideas, literature, and disciplines, which results in opportunities to deliver conceptual bodies of knowledge to people whose curiosity or business needs lead them to ask questions. Ontologies and semantics have the power to transform the future of knowledge management for librarians and the public. A dictionary defines concepts. Thesaurus lists words and their synonyms, concepts. Taxonomy places concepts into a hierarchy. But ontologies combine these elements of all the three knowledge structures, defining concepts like a dictionary, establishing a relationship like a thesaurus, and providing categorization for concepts like a taxonomy. An ontology allows for the exploitation of all the kinds of relationship our brains makes automatically. So the ontology is a very deep and multidimensional classification. Ontologies are being used to standardize vocabulary by publishing concepts, relationship, and definitions provided by the subject experts. Ontologies provide better routes of exploration by organizing the information in a more precise and complex way, and of course in a multidimensional way. Ontologies provide better search results by using ontology-based search techniques and natural language processing. Classificatory principles and their application in indexing. Coming to our core question, classificated principles are inherent in traditional pre- and post-coordinate indexes and CSRI in order to control and make more effective the process of subject retrieval. Pre-coordinate indexes replicate the problems associated with classification in general by forming a fixed order of citation of elements. They perform an additional function in supporting the classification and drawing attention to the alternative locations of a topic in the various disciplines as found in the classification. Classification also conceals and represents hierarchy, where one is guided via the notation to more general or specific works. The idea of more general and more specific terms being linked in an index is therefore a useful one, which has been utilized all types of indexing. In a list of subject headings, we are instructed on the creation of references to be made from a subject to related and subordinate topics. Take for example the term accounting from the thesaurus or subject heading list. Under it there is a instruction or reference, see also. See also the term auditing, inventories, etc. So it means that the term auditing and inventories are quite related with accounting. So the relation has been established. The headings in such an index should be specific entries, that is, they should correspond precisely to the subject content of the document. Such links can be most useful in guiding the users, particularly the uninitiated or the new one, as for example when an inquirer is searching for information on acupuncture and some of the most valuable material may be found in works on holistic medicine. Then certain indexes adopt this approach and would provide a link, thus acupuncture, see also holistic medicine. That means that we have guided the users to the wider or related areas of holistic medicine, which is also includes acupuncture. Chain indexing, subject headings. Subject headings can be drawn by the procedure chain indexing, as Ranganathan demonstrated in late 1930s. And it was the first time that a relation between indexing and classification was brought to the fore. At each stage, one would consider the significance of the concept introduced as the verbal equivalent of the last digit. Some of the above links have to be subject meaning, such as other therapies, which would therefore be ignored as unsought headings in constructing the index. Synonyms would be sought for all the terms, which should be included in the index, and the result would be a number of entities eventually filed alphabetically as follows. Acupuncture, subheading therapeutic medicine 615892. Acupuncture, holistic medicine, then 615892. Therapeutics medicine 615.5. Holistic medicine 615.5. Alternative medicine, that is 615.5, that is synonymous term for the above, holistic medicine. The searcher who has sought acupuncture as search term to the index would therefore be guided by the form of the entry to holistic medicine as a broader class. Other indexing systems based upon classification. The PRECIS, Preserved Context Indexing System, invented by Derek Austin, was used in the British National Bibliography from 1970 to 1990. COMPAS, Computer-Aided Subject System, used by the BNB from 1991 to 1996. It was a simplification over the PRECIS. POPSI, Postulate-Based Permuted Subject Index, invented by Professor G. Bhattacharya, to improve over the chain indexing to preserve the context. It was based upon the general theory of subject indexing languages, SIL. SILIC, Selective Listing in Combination, indexing invented by J.R. Sharp, is a cyclic index which supported the classification by reducing the number of entries. Title indexing, mostly it is quick, that is keyword in context, which maintains the context of the terms by use of the full title. It is computer-based and also gives the context, which is the use of classification in itself. Indexing requires some devices for control. Three forms of control which may be applied indexes are role indicators, linking, and weighing devices. And the use of these devices makes the use of classification inherent in these methods. To explain the use of role indicators in a sense classify a concept by showing the purpose or role for which the term is used. This is particularly necessary when dealing with the terms which have a wide variety of different applications such as therapy, where the process may be found serving different functions such as the clinical, the social, the educational, or the occupational therapy. It may also be necessary to distinguish a concept at different stages of its evolution, for example, as raw material or as an end product of manufacture. So, this is the use of role indicators. Linking devices show the nature of the association between a subject term and another term or terms to which it is related. The concept of the history of philosophy is quite different from philosophy of history, and an index could use linking devices to convey the difference in approach, a difference conveyed in natural language by semantic construction. If there are no linking devices between terms, then post-coordinate search for a document dog bites a man will also retrieve man bites a dog. Linking devices seek to increase the relevance ratio. Such devices may be added to the precision of retrieval of subjects. Another method for indexing is weighting. According to Marsala and Newton, weighting another term control device central to classificatory principles which may be applied to indexing. The whole business of classification is about weighting in determining the citation order of a document, deciding in which discipline a work may fall, deciding what is the main class number for the work, and the creation of added class number entries in the classified sequence of a classified catalog. In all of these operations, we are determining where the chief emphasis of the document lies. For example, in medicine, an item which deals comparatively with a drug treatment of insomnia and behavioral therapy produces the following list of index terms where the major descriptors are identified by an asterisk. Behavioral therapy, insomnia therapy, tizomam therapeutic use, adult, combined modality therapy, placebos, treatment outcome. To summarize and to conclude, we can say Professor S.R. Ranganathan, with his path-breaking discovery of chain indexing, earlier called chain procedure, in 1939, brought the symbiosis between the two to the fore. In fact, the list of subject headings have some latent classification in their design in the form of linking synonyms, grouping, and showing both the hierarchical and associative relations in the form of see also references. Thesaurus made such relations among subjects more explicit and visible among subjects in a given field. The facet invented by Jean Atkinson went a step further, which has features of classification system for shelf arrangement as well as a thesaurus for indexing and retrieval. Ontologies combine features of a thesaurus and taxonomy and the power to display multidimensional relations to concepts in a domain. Classification is inherent in other indexing systems such as Precis, POPSIS, NAFIS, and so on. Boolean operations involve classification in parsing to make desired groups. So does quick indexing, which brings keywords in titles from a large database together by computer manipulation. Vickery mentions that an act of classification is involved when we invert a multi-worded subject name or bring together distributed relatives in the relative index of the Dewey Decimal classification. To make indexes more effective in performance, an element of classification in form of control devices is very necessary. In fact, at the bottom, classification and indexing are the same knowledge organization tools. They have some common features and are best termed under the umbrella term controlled vocabulary.